Good morning and welcome to This Day in Alternate History. I'm Jason Adams.
And I'm Mer Lafferty. Today is July 10th, 2007, and on this day, in 1925, Scopes versus the state of Tennessee, popularly known as the Scopes Monkey Trial, began in Dayton, Tennessee.
In March of that year, the state had passed the Butler Act, which made it unlawful to teach in state-funded institutions, quote, any theory that denies the story of the divine creation of man as taught in the Bible, and to teach instead that man was descended from a lower order of animals. Recognizing that this law was blatantly unconstitutional, the ACLU offered to defend anyone accused of teaching evolution. Seeing the potential for a high-profile publicity stunt, a local businessman asked John Thomas Scopes, the football coach and occasional substitute biology teacher at Rhea County High School, to deliberately break the law. In May, Scopes was arrested for violating the Butler Act.
The stunt worked even better than expected, and the trial attracted unprecedented national and international attention. This was largely due to the presence of high-profile lawyers on both sides, Clarence Darrow on the defense and former Secretary of State William Jennings Bryan for the prosecution. On the sixth day of the trial, the defense ran out of witnesses. The judge declared that all testimony on the Bible was irrelevant unless an expert could be found that was acceptable to the court. In a bizarre move, Bryan, counsel for the prosecution, volunteered to be a defense witness.
Day 7 of the trial began with Bryan taking the witness stand and being questioned by Darrow, whose goal was to demonstrate that the belief in the Bible as a historical document was unreasonable. His brutal cross-examination also delved into issues of the practical implications and logical paradoxes of miracles, the creation story, and Adam and Eve.
The trial became a literal media circus on the 8th day when Bryan called to the stand a local chimpanzee named Mr. Flip. When asked why he had not evolved into a human, Mr. Flip scratched his ear and ate a passing ant, which is of course chimp for, "That's not how evolution works, you dolt." Bryan then asked Mr. Flip if he personally knew any monkeys who had evolved, to which the chimp responded with a loud screech, slapped the side of the witness booth, which even those in the audience who couldn't understand chimpanzee knew meant, "I am an ape, not a monkey." The questioning continued for a grueling 9 hours, during which Mr. Flip was nearly held in contempt of court 3 times for flinging feces and once attempting to hump the bailiff.
Oddly enough, Scopes was never called to testify in his own trial because he couldn't actually recall if he'd ever got around to teaching the evolution chapter of the state-mandated biology textbook. In the end, the jury deliberated a mere 9 minutes and returned a guilty verdict, and Scopes was ordered to pay a $100 fine. Despite the victory, the prosecution refused to let the matter drop. William Jennings Bryan declared that he would prove once and for all the non-existence of evolution and organized a round-the-clock vigil of the monkey house at the National Zoo. 5 sleepless days later, Bryan died of exposure and starvation, becoming the first martyr of the anti-evolution movement. His hordes of followers and their descendants took up Bryan's post at the zoo, and their tireless monkey-watching efforts was the catalyst for technology that made live television possible, C-SPAN in particular.
Of course, with the world's attention diverted, no one noticed that squids had quietly developed the ability to breathe air, walk on dry land, and build deadly ink-based weapon systems. The invasion was swift and brutal, but it was obviously for our own good. I'm Mer Lafferty.
And I'm Jason Adams, and this has been This Day in Alternate History.
All hail our tentacled overlords!